Good morning, everybody. I start this video out with a racing heart and a little bit of sweat at my brow because we are starting today the scariest part of our year. Farmer does the same thing over and over and over again every single year his whole life. And all of that starts with planting season, and that starts today. The reason I say that I'm so nervous and not necessarily so excited is because yes, spring comes with a ton of new beginnings. This is where we start our year, but I have to start this season out with so much trust in my knowledge, abilities, and my equipment. All of this has to work or else there is no point in me farming. If we don't get this job done right, the rest of my year is no use. It all goes to waste. I have so much money sitting behind me in my tractor and the maintenance that I've done to it and the things that I've added onto it, like the technology that's sitting in the cab and on top of the cab, in the tanks that are on either side. They're 500-gallon tanks on either side that are full of 1034O. That's our starter fertilizer. I have money sitting in the planter, the technology, and especially the SurePoint fertilizer system that you see sitting on it, and then the seed that's sitting in those tanks. And everything that I'm going to be doing today, everything that's working behind me is working underground. The whole job that we're completing is to put that tiny little seed at just the right depth into the ground at the correct soil temperature in the right conditions. And I hope that what I'm seeing is true, that what my monitors are telling me are correct. We are planting everything right so that they sprout, they grow, and produce a good crop for me to harvest this fall. So this video is kicking off my year as a farmer. So come along with me, Laura Farms, to start the 2024 planting season. It's crazy to say, but I purchased this tractor 2 years ago. It is a John Deere 2011 8335R. It's kind of getting up there on the hours, but we've taken really good care of it, done all the proper maintenance, and she's holding together really well. Behind the scenes, behind the cameras, when everything was turned off, we installed these Demco side tanks, and they are plumbed. You see here they are plumbed underneath the tractor. The plumbing comes all the way back here and connects to our SurePoint system and our Sentinel rate controller. This is a vital part of our planting setup. This is what's putting down the fertilizer to the seeds. And that's what these colored tubes are right here. That's what's going to give my seed the fuel and nutrients it needs to start out its life. And last but certainly not least, we have our John Deere 1720 planter. It's a centerville planter, meaning that instead of having boxes that you fill individually on each row, the seeds are all stored in these bulk tanks here and then sent out with a vacuum pressured system out to every row. And then it's got lift assist wheels on it because this system's pretty heavy, but it's a 16 row. We can cover a decent amount of ground with this thing. We bought this planter used and have put a ton of new parts and labor into it, so it should last us for a good amount of time into the future. And of course we have Pepper, who is not very helpful when it comes to planting, but is definitely a good mouser. Isn't that right, Pep? In theory, everything works. Should work, hopefully. But this morning we're going to take this out into the field, plant corn, and see if it actually works. All right, folks. Are you ready to go plant some corn? Start by opening up the door. Let's get this thing out in the wild. I'll be honest, guys, the more I talked with you about how stressful of a situation this is for us every year, the more I kind of psyched myself out. I mean, I definitely was nervous, but the longer I started talking about it, kind of got a dry mouth a little bit. There's just so many things that could go wrong and do go wrong every single year. If you look back and watch any of my planting videos over the last 4 years, there's just always something. I don't think I've ever had a day, ever, where everything has just gone smoothly from morning till evening. Maybe today will be a first, huh? We can only hope. Before we even start the tractor cab, just going to preemptively get a 15/16 ratchet. You couldn't hear Grant back there, but he says enormous thank you to everyone who sent us variations of the 15/16 because virtually every part that has the potential to get loose or fall off on that planter is a 15/16. And the whole time we were working on it this winter, we were like, man, where do they all go? So thank you guys for your contribution to the cause. It is appreciated and is being put to good use already.
Tight squeeze getting in there.
Yeah, I gotta be careful not to bump your head, that's for sure. I'm sure at some point during the season, I'll be in a hurry to get in or out and something and just absolutely whack my head. First trust the process moment is going to be, will the tractor start? Which it usually does, but you just never know. You might be wondering why we have such a big shop, such big doors. That is because of pieces of equipment like this. They're just massive and they barely fit. And honestly, this is not a large planter on the market anymore. There's so many more pieces of equipment that are so much bigger than this, especially planters. Honestly, this shop and door is not even big enough for us. Our corn head does not fit in here and the combine barely does.
Tight squeeze getting in there. Tight squeeze.
Chief is a family-owned, Nebraska-based company comprised of 7 diverse brands. Chief, trusted, tested, true.
Okay, pushing in the first hydraulics.
And we can see it right here on the vacuum. It should turn green, so we're good there. And then the blower, which will blow the seed from the tanks to the seed boxes. That's what this one is.
That's our delivery system.
Also runs hydraulic pressure to the Sure Point fertilizer pump. So now we're going to load all the meters with seed.
Just press up on those 2 buttons.
And that drops just a little bit out the bottom.
That's rotating seed through all of the meters.
Because if we didn't do that, we would probably go for 10 feet without any seed in the ground.
Row 13, classic. Try loading it one more time and then we'll go out and check it. Could be just a loose hose, something blocking the way. Always feels like it's row 13. If it doesn't load, I'll go out and check it. All right, I'll go check it. You see, folks, this is why you have to start testing things. Nothing ever works right the first try. Oh, look at that. Coming out. I just needed to get the vacuum pressure started on that hose. Now we're good. We purchased this planter off auction and we drove the tractor to go pick it up, and I believe on that road trip in the tractor we went through the McDonald's drive-thru, correct?
That was a long time ago.
That was a really long time ago. When we purchased this planter, it did not have a fertilizer system on it. So I contacted my friends at SurePoint and they came out and helped us install this system that it has now on it. And this will be our 3rd season running with it. After getting to play around in that Next App planter, I think what we're really missing on our system is turn automation. We got spoiled in that thing. So much of planting is so technologically advanced, but you still have to get out behind the planter and dig around. This is a little depth gauge. It's got some inches on it. So I dug down. There's a seed. There's a seed. There's a seed, about 6-ish inches apart and about 2 inches deep. Never forget to cover them back up when you're done. We want them all to grow up big, strong, and healthy.
I'm finding a lot of earthworms down here, which is very encouraging, but I'm not finding a lot of water. So there's water down there, but most of it's very, very dry. Like you get way down in here, there's some moisture, but once we get all this planted, we'll just start the pivots right up. Give these plants a good shot at growing.
Everything appears to be working, but for some reason I just feel skeptical. I think that farmers are people who understand faith more than anyone, because pretty much every dollar we have is going in the ground right there behind us. And we purchased this seed with the faith that it is going to grow like the companies advertise it will, and that this fertilizer is really as good as the companies say it is. And we can get out there and dig, and I see that the seed is going in the ground, and once we turn the pivots on and start watering, it is just faith that they are going to grow and produce a good crop for us, so that we can harvest it, sell it, and hopefully make enough money to do all of this over again next year. Here's our screen where we can see exactly how much fertilizer is being put down. We're putting 2.5 gallons down an acre, and those little green and red bars kind of look like you're watching stocks being traded. That is,
it's going up. It's going up.
Oh, here we go.
Our seed's going up. As you can see on this, we're going into the irrigated population now. So where the pivot comes around here, and this corn will actually get watered, so we plant more corn here.
Like I said, we've got a lot of different monitors. Anyways, we can see exactly that our Sentinel rate controller is putting down our target rate, and we have just a tiny little bit of fluctuation on each row, but we're staying really close to that target.
There's that row.
Are you
13.
kidding me?
So it's working, just the sensor on the seed tube is not working. Like, it's putting down seed. It should be. We've looked at it 10 times already. Just ignore it. Well, I'll try to find a new one tomorrow, but stupid 13.
It's always something, like I said. So we've got this here, this 2020 Seed Sense monitor. This computer is just translating all of the data that the planter is giving to us and putting it in colors and numbers that we can understand. See, look at that, row 13.
It's back to normal.
Back to perfectly normal. So this is telling us the rate that we're putting down and the singulation, meaning the seed spacing. And then that iPad is taking all of that data from the SeedSense monitor and putting it into the cloud so that we can access that from our desktop computers and use that throughout the season. And then we can compare all of our planting data. We're going to use this exact same system when we harvest, and then we can compare the data from planting to harvest. For example, where we planted a higher population, did we see a higher yield or a lower yield? Row 13 might be the death of us. It's so annoying. While the LSW tires always look so cool, there is something really fun about duals, and they just work so well on our operation. We are row crop farmers. We farm on 30-inch rows, and these duals just split the row so nicely. So we're not compacting the ground that we're right about to plant into. We're keeping her right at 5 miles an hour. Definitely not a high-speed operation, but we're getting things done. I was just pondering how I could fix our beeping monitor situation, because I know that it is putting down the same amount of seed, but our monitor right now is telling us that it's putting down more seed than the rest of the rows, but I know that's not true. That seed tube is just giving us an inaccurate readout. That's why Grant said tomorrow we need to find a new tube and replace it. So everything's working just fine, but for the time being, it's not beeping anymore, which is really, really nice. Being in the driver's seat of a tractor cab, it's been a while. We've done some jobs like root slicing, pivot track closing. We applied a little bit of anhydrous, but there's something that's really different and special about being in a tractor cab for one of the two major farming operations, which would be planting and harvesting. This one I feel like is a lot more high stress. Harvest, you have a lot more visuals and you are truly harvesting, reaping the fruits of your labor for the entirety of the year. So we are just setting ourselves up for a lot of work in the coming months, but I just know how good it's going to feel when I'm sitting in the tractor cab of the grain cart or the cab of the combine a few months from now. All of this stress and money will be worth it. You'll notice that Grant and I are matching today. I am sporting a lovely Aurora Farms shirt, and he just so happens to be wearing the corresponding hat. So if you're looking for a little pick-me-up this spring, if you'd like to support us, if you want to let all of your friends and family know that you know about farming and you watch Aurora Farms, this is what you need to get. You can find them underneath this video, or if you just go to aurora.farms.com. Thank you to Bunker Branding for putting together these wonderful designs for us. Shirts are comfy, hats make you look good, and you can let everybody know that you're a farmer. It might seem a little bit lonely out here, just alone in the cab, nobody else. But there is something that's quite relaxing about just sitting here in the silence, being alone with your thoughts. First off, there's just a lot to focus and concentrate on and think about over here. But this is the perfect opportunity to slow down. We are only traveling 5 miles an hour, and you can really just sit and be with yourself. And I got the opportunity to be by myself with all of you guys. It's a really, really unique experience. I'm so glad that I started filming myself planting 4 years ago, almost to the day. Being able to share this journey with you guys has been one of the more rewarding things I've ever done with my life, and I'm excited to do this for the foreseeable future. So I hope you guys aren't going anywhere. Okay, folks, it might be a tight squeeze. Am I going to make it past this pile of concrete blocks in these culverts? I better slow down. I'm pretty sure I can make it. I think I can. Ooh, go nice and slow. Ooh, just barely cleared. Have Grant back there checking on my seed levels to see where we're at. See what he says. Grant says we are almost out, so we're going to drive back to the yard and fill up, and you guys are in luck. The seed that we are planting is in bags, so we are going to get our workout for the afternoon and throw some bags. Back in the yard, lowered down. We're just gonna turn that off. Pepper, coming to say hi? How was your day? Just popping up. Do you want to check out the cab for a sec? Come on up. You want to go for a little ride in the buddy seat? Why don't you watch us while we fill seed? Say hi, Pepper. Pepper says hi to everyone. Sorry, Grant. I just cannot help you throw seed bags. Pepper has decided that it's time to take a break, so I have to. To finish up this field, we need a little bit more seed, and unfortunately, we are not able to use that beautiful new seed tender that we have because this seed comes in bags. These are 50-pound bags. Each one of these costs roughly around $300. So we're gonna be lifting those heavy bags up this ladder, not a set of stairs, unfortunately. It's this very tricky balancing act of you have this really expensive thing that moves around kind of willy-nilly on your shoulder, and you climb the ladder, then you pour it in. But every single one of these seeds is valuable and important. So this is not something that we're just trying to like toss and break open. We want to make sure that every single seed from that bag is getting into this tank and then be planted into the ground. So we're gonna throw all of these bags into these tanks, and then we will be ready to go for tomorrow morning. We are setting ourselves up for a full season of planting. Today went really well. Remember, I wanted to call this day 0 for planting, not technically day 1. We just wanted to get out in the field, make sure everything works, and we have a few kinks that we need to iron out, but we should be ready for a full 2024 planting season. Ready, Grant? planter is prepped and ready for tomorrow. Full of seed, full of fuel, tested, trued. We need to get that row number 13, a new tube. But other than that, we are ready to go. Thank you so much for riding along on day 0 of planting. We will see you bright and early in the tractor cab tomorrow. I hope you're ready. Pack snacks, get a good night's sleep tonight, and we will be ready to roll. Thanks for coming along and riding in the buddy seat with me. I hope you enjoyed today, learned something new, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.